Hi, Dr. Jeremy Heyman here at Cornerstone Naturopathic, and today I'm continuing my video series on anti-cancer foods and the benefits of anti-cancer foods. Today I'm going to be talking about something that a lot of us out there love, a drink that we start with every morning, most of us in the morning, mid-morning, maybe one in the afternoon. It's coffee. So a lot of controversy out there in terms of coffee as to whether or not it's actually beneficial to our health or detrimental to our health, and how much to drink and what kind, and all those sorts of questions. A lot of controversy out there, and I want to say before I even get started on giving you the lowdown that my approach to life personally for myself and for my patients is all about moderation. So life is best lived in balance for the most part, and when it comes to coffee consumption, regardless of what the studies show, my approach is always moderation and in balance. So I'm going to refer to a specific study that was done not too long ago, and it involved over 80,000 participants, and basically was called a cohort study. So they took 80,000 people, they looked back on their intake of coffee, their regularity of coffee consumption over so many years, and they wanted to see how that related to the incidence of cancer. Now what the outcome showed was actually that those that drank coffee and those that drank coffee in certain amounts, there was an inverse relationship between coffee consumption and cancer risk. So that means that those that drank coffee had a lower risk of cancer versus those that did not drink coffee. And they took out all the confounding variables and everything, so it's specifically very accurate in terms of coffee consumption and risk of cancer. So that's awesome news for most of us out there who do enjoy coffee. Now that particular study showed that up to 5 cups of coffee per day for men showed the maximum benefit. However, for women, it was actually just less than 1 cup of coffee a day. So not as good for women as it was for men in terms of how much coffee you can drink. I wouldn't live based on that. My recommendation typically to patients is 1 to 2 to 3 coffees a day is quite relevant and health promoting in terms of its anti-cancer benefits, but we're always learning more when more science comes out to give us more detail. Now there's another study done in 2016. It was a meta-analysis, and that basically takes all the really valuable and critical research out there, puts it all together, picks away and tries to find kind of like a common outcome and the most statistically significant outcome. And what this meta-analysis found was the same thing, inverse relationship. So coffee intake is associated with a lower risk of cancer. So this is fantastic. And these studies never mentioned anything about the quality of coffee. So even thinking about that, healthier versions of coffee like organic, that type of thing, how it's roasted and everything else, could actually provide more benefits. So for me, it's very important as well that I drink a high quality organic coffee. Coffee itself was previously considered as a possible carcinogen. Now that statement was pulled, as a benefit to coffee in terms of health outweighs any possibility that may be cancer causing. And the basis for this original thought that coffee potentially could be a possible carcinogen was of what compound, one specific compound that's actually created during the roasting process, and that's called acrylamide. So acrylamide is a compound that, like I mentioned, can be created in coffee if it's roasted. It's also very, very common in many foods that are charred, barbecued, grilled, burnt. And this is actually very well known as a cancer-causing compound, and so carcinogenic for sure. So the difference here is that when the statement was pulled in terms of coffee, it showed that the benefit of drinking coffee, primarily due to the phytochemicals and antioxidants in the coffee, far outweighed any potential health detriment in terms of carcinogenic properties that this acrylamide can potentially create. So, and there's a low level of acrylamide, so there's no real concern there. And one of the original controversies as well was, well, if we're roasting this food and we're burning basically this food, it's going to rid it completely of its void of all of its antioxidant potential. This is definitely untrue. There's very clear evidence out there with respect to coffee that actually antioxidants remain in the coffee during and after the roasting process, similar to vegetables. So there's very valid proof out there and evidence out there that shows that raw vegetables, yes, are fantastic, but also when you cook specific vegetables like steaming, boiling, even frying, that it actually can increase the bioavailability or enhance the current profile of antioxidants in that specific vegetable. So definitely a positive thing. So overall, studies show that coffee consumption is healthy, creates an anti-cancer potential, and based on what's been evidenced so far, I'm very comfortable and confident in the research, and I'm going to continue my coffee consumption on a regular basis. I currently only drink 1 to 2 cups of coffee a day. There is some evidence out there, like I said, that 2 to 5, up to 5 cups of coffee a day may actually be maximally beneficial. But as long as you're drinking coffee, reasonably, drink it black if at all possible. Organic, source organic, non-GMO. There's definitely better quality. I prefer the whole bean, and I prefer to grind it as I go, just because it prevents any rancidity from going on there. But enjoy your coffee. You can go into your next morning, tomorrow morning, sipping your coffee, knowing that you are actually protecting yourself and you are providing your body some anti-cancer potential, which is fantastic. And then we will continue on our next video with the next anti-cancer food. So any questions, concerns, thoughts, please post down below, and look forward to our next video on anti-cancer foods.